The Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing, Alte Mountain Shilajit, and Weekend Defender. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. Today, we have a very special guest. In a time where war is so relevant in the world, we thought it would be a good idea to interview someone who has been on the front lines of one of the most chaotic and deadly wars, the Ukraine and Russia war front. This guy has also been involved in the British military and is now doing private security. He's also a Newport lad, which is always nice to get a local lad on. So I warmly welcome Mr. Gaz Bowden.
Thank you. Cheers.
How's it going?
All good, all good.
Nice to have you on, mate.
It's good to be on, man. Yeah, privilege.
It's been a long time. We've been speaking for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. Talked about it a lot.
Yeah. Obviously, we had to find certain windows to get you on because you still are in the private security sector. Is that correct?
That's it. I'm on got a couple of months off because we just had the baby. So back over in March now, by the looks of it.
And where are you based right now?
In Somalia, Mogadishu, Somalia. Can't say too much on that, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously it's NDAs,
That's
etc. But interesting. But yeah, I assume we can speak about a lot of the other places you've been.
Yeah, of course we can speak about like the area itself. I just can't tell you exact like locations and stuff because.
Of course. Well, okay then. Well, maybe we should start with the where it all started then with the British military. Is that where it started?
Yeah. So I joined Britmail when I was 16, straight from school. I was actually mooching Welsh back when I joined up. When I went to town, walked past the careers office and just popped my head in. Like next thing I know, I'm signed up and joined the Royal Welsh Infantry.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty easy. Is it that easy?
I had to go through a selection process and like do a few tests and medicals and stuff, but basically that easy. Yeah, just had to sit down, had a conversation. They asked if it was what I wanted to do, and then obviously I had to get my signature for my mum because I was under 18. But yeah, I wanted to join since I was a kid because my old man was in there, my brother was in there, so it was just that was the family career.
Do you think it's much easier to kind of commit to something like that when family members have gone through that?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's I mean, it's probably just as easy to do it when no family members are in there, but having family members in there, I grew up like hearing all the war stories, hearing like how it was living sort of to a certain degree of their core values just from growing up anyway. And at that time, there wasn't much like, it was either stay in school, and which I didn't really want to do anyway, or just get a job. And I thought I'd rather do something with my life and go like traveling, have some fun with it rather than do a 9 to 5. So that's what I decided to do.
Yeah. It makes total sense, you know. And what year was that you joined?
So I joined up in 2012. I was in for 4 years. Then because Afghanistan had finished, our regiment had finished by 2012. They'd done their last tour then, so I missed out on that unfortunately because I was still in training. But yeah, done Batas, Poland, so like training exercises, and then everything sort of come to a halt because during that time my mum was having heart attacks and stuff left, right and centre. And then all of a sudden my ex, who was pregnant at the time, was we had a stillborn, and from there I crashed. It was like the soul left my body and I couldn't soldier, couldn't do anything. Ended up on meds, crashed, and I was ended up getting into a fight with a full screw, a corporal, and ended up getting done for GBH. And sort of I was compassionately discharged from the army, so even though I did get done for GBH and got a suspended sentence, they didn't kick me out for dishonourably because of the circumstances and the time I got. Give me a compassionate discharge, which in my opinion was like, it was nice of them to do that for me. But I turned to weed then. So I was smoking weed for about, I was heavily on weed then. I smoked about between 20 and half quarter a day. And it was just, I was going nowhere in my life. I was stuck in a hole. couldn't get out of the hole and felt like there was no more. So I started training back in the gym, started doing MMA again, got that spark back, like, because I felt I had no purpose at the time. So got my purpose back, started moving up, and then I started fighting again, started getting my life on track, and I decided I was going to do CP because my old man wanted to do CP before he died, but he ended up having a heart attack himself, and that obviously couldn't follow the dream, so I decided to follow through with that for him. But I didn't want to do executive. I wanted to do hostile. And the thing with hostile, you can't do hostile unless you've got military experience, or they like military experience, like that for combat experience. So I got a phone call off one of the boys saying that it was work going over in Ukraine, doing this on the front lines, working as a soldier with the Ukrainian Legion. Said it was good pay and all this. So I followed his guidance, went down the lane, ended up joining our team.
What, so you didn't join. It wasn't private security then.
Not at the time, no.
In terms for you to go into private security, you had to get some actual,
Well, to do hostile, yeah, to do the jobs.
some experience, which you didn't get in the British Army.
Well, that's it, yeah, because obviously Afghan had finished. There was no wars going on at the time.
Right, I see. And was there any other motivations for Ukraine? Did you have any, because at that time, I remember on the news the amount of people who were signing up to go fight
That's
for
what I mean,
Ukraine.
yeah. So I was considering it anyway, but what I wanted to do was CP. But then seeing all the news and stuff, seeing like people like how they were getting treated, how like they were getting bombed every day, and the civilians were like struggling. So when I was going to go over at first to do the humanitarian sort of stuff, getting refugees out and stuff, but then when my mate gave me a ring, and he was like, "Oh, if you're going over, join these people. Gives you combat experience as well, which will do you good for the future with the CP." And then I ended up bumping into a guy called Ben Grant, who is the Tory MP son, Mrs. Grant. He's ex-bootneck, ex-Royal Marine, and he was over there already. He was working with the Ukrainian SF, the GIU, which was the Special Operations recce's and snipers. I ended up getting in contact with him. He was like, "If you can get to this place, join our team." So obviously I'm ex British infantry. Just went over there with a power lads and engineer lads, all joined up the same day. Ended up going to, I think we were based around the Kyiv area for the first week or two, just stagging on, waiting for kit and stuff. And then we got picked up in this little, what are they called? The family cars.
Like a
saloon car.
space cruiser.
Yeah, like a space cruiser. And no arm or nothing. Get chucked in the back of there. So we're like 7 man deep in this space cruiser. And
Pure Raji, like.
yeah, pure Raji. So he's in the front with his AK. We hadn't even been kitted at the time. We had our tape in the other seat there, and it was also our go-to and TL for the Ukrainian lads. And I was just driving through these roads. Smoke still there from all the arty fire coming in. Freaking missing potholes, trees cut down and stuff. And
RT fire, the people.
IDF, so indirect fire from artillery cannons and stuff. So yeah, it was hot just getting into the area. And then we rocked up at this like old mansion just off the knee up the river. It was a banging view, to be fair. But he said, like, keep your head down because there's Russians on the other side and there's snipers in the towers and stuff. So like crawling around the floor all night. Still no kit or nothing. And then
What, just like a civilian? You look like a civilian.
Basically, we were at that time we were still kind of civvy, so we'd signed our contract. We were part of them, but we hadn't been kitted. And then we rocked up at, I can't remember the area. Like we were working out the area just above Lviv, which was to work north where the Belarusian border was, because they had the Russian mercenaries were working with them. So we carried on going up then the next day, and then we got to our fob and then kitted and stuff from there. I got asked the question because I was sharpshooter qualified. I turned around and he was like, "Oh, do you want to learn the sniper rifle?" So I was like, "Yeah." Like I said, my dream job. So he handed me the sniper rifle, handed me the booklet for it. It's like, you got 3 days to learn. I was like, what? He was like, 3 days to learn and we're going out on mission. And I was there like, I managed it. Luckily we were doing recce, so we weren't too bad. But I learned the weapon system, done a range day, zeroed my weapon and everything, and it was like on point. Learned everything I could about it, like all the like the velocities, the sub and above one. And yeah, just sort of got my head in the game. Even though I was flapping like there's no tomorrow, ringing boys who were still in the British Army, like, or when we were on the snipers, I was like, what point is going to give me? What should I do? What's this? But yeah, luckily some of the boys give me some help, like, and I got it.
Would something like that ever happen in the British Army where you'd
Oh,
be like,
no,
oh, just get on this sniper or train this?
You got to apply. Usually, we get put forward for courses. You put your name down for courses, and then you go on to that. But you can do anything in the British Army. It's do like snipers. You can do like mountain biking, boxing, skiing. You can do everything.
Yeah, but that's like the gateway to get in there, really.
But that's
like,
it. Yeah,
so it entices you to get.
That's it. They thought they give you these little carrots.
And you're on that front line. I'm giving you that gun. You fucking shoot, innit?
But that's it. I was like, I don't know, like, I've sort of never, like, people say, oh, it's scary and stuff. I've never really felt like that. It's like, sort of my element. You have take a couple of breaths, like double breath in, and then you're good to go. It's the same as getting in the ring or, going down a mountain on a bike. It's that little joy of it. Like.
But did you, like you said, you've been in the army for so long though, with no kind of combat. Like, talk me through how you was feeling in your head when you're going into that environment.
Obviously, in the back of your head, you're like, right, stuff could happen. Like, stuff did happen. 2 of our lads got blown up. One of them got shot and killed. And the lad who got shot and killed was my replacement when I left, which was shit. Like. But yeah, you have that feeling in the back of your head always. But you trust the guy next to you. Well, you hope you can trust the guy next to you. And then,
sorry, when you say replacement,
so when I left, the guy took my position.
So that could have been you.
Yeah. Well, it would have been me, but he got shot in the back and killed, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a New Zealand lad. He just we knew him as Tolkien, which was his call sign, because he was from New Zealand, Lord of the Rings. It's a funny little call sign, like. But yeah, he joined up. He'd been in the squad for 2 weeks, and then I left because I wasn't getting paid, and some stuff happened with the team that we were sort of bickering. So I was like, right, I'm out. And then spoke to a former American Marine captain who was doing reporting out there, and he had a 25 grand bounty on his head put on it by Malinka, which was, or whatever her name is, for reporting and say like giving battlefield reports of what was happening with Russia and stuff and how they were treated. Like,
Malinka, who's that?
Like,
the Russian
is Putin's second in command on the politics.
Right, I see.
Yeah. So she wanted them dead or alive, 25 grand.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's bickering and stuff. Obviously, everyone would argue when you're in that kind of heightened environment. But was it very unorganized? It sounds like it was a bit like.
It was very unorganized. So we went over with it was called the Norman Brigade. But they were doing some other stuff. They were doing like weapons, ammo and stuff, and just like the behind the line stuff. And then when Ben put a message in the group saying anyone wants to come down and actually do something, come join me. So a few of us went with him. And then, we done a few combat missions. When we took 3 artillery guns, took a wood block, they retreated. And then as we were going through, come across the artillery guns. That's where one of the boys, Josh, who was ex-Royal Engineers, he was getting filled in by a Russian lad, and I stepped in, threw the guy off. The guy picked up an AK, cocked it, started screaming at us in Russian. I don't know how I done it, but I was about a metre away from him, and I remember just like stepped to the side, slided the weapon out of his hands, and then just put him in a rear naked choke. And I just closed my eyes, held my breath, and just hoped for the best. And next thing I know, he was limp. I got a tap on my shoulder, and our medic, Pokey, He's ex-Royal Marines. He had a syringe, it was either morphine or ketamine, whatever they were using. But he had a syringe in his hand. He's like, he's out, Lego. So some of the Lego and got out. He's pinged him in the leg. Guy was out. And then he was like, right, go have a chill, sort yourself out, and then like recompose yourself, and then we'll get back on.
Well, you choked him out cold, or
Yeah, choked him to sleep, like just slept him. But yeah, he next time I seen him, he was a bit battered and bruised, like he'd been filled in by the Ukrainian lads.
so was he a prisoner of war then? Was he?
Oh, I'm guessing, yeah, but that's the last we seen of him. He got taken away.
And so how did you get into so much close contact? Was this in the trenches or in the...
So they had all the trenches, but it was like, I can't remember what they're called. They're not like little bunkers under the ground, like World War I trenches. And yeah, he must have come out of there or had been in there, ambushed Josh and was just filling them in. But
Wow.
along the lines of what the Ukrainian lad said he was saying was he was going to kill us all. He was going to shoot every one of us and all this. So luckily I got him what I did.
How did your expectations differ to what you did expect then in Ukraine?
I expected more, to be fair. I expected to be put on the trenches and being like hand to hand every day and close combat and like rounds going down a lot. But it was a lot less than I anticipated in that sense. It was more IDF, so artillery fire coming in, mortars coming in every day, cruise missiles, and those cruise missiles are scary. Like you hear the jet engines engage and they come down and they light up the sky like there's no tomorrow. It's quite a sight. It's like a weird beauty to it. It's just see the sky. It's like wow, like never seen something such a big explosion of such like a small thing. But yeah, it's.
Would you say if you went back there now, it would be more intense, or is it just because of where you was located?
So I still know lads over there, and it's quieter than it was. But I was there during the time when Mariupol fell as well. So we heard all the radio comms for that, that was heartbreaking hours because they were saying they got no ammunition, no backup, and they're surrounded on all sides. They tried everything. They tried dropping their weapons, dressing up the civilians, and leaving, but they were unable to because one of my mate in CP, he's one of his pals, Cossack Grundy. He was among our lot, like, and he was killed. He was hung and killed. But yeah, that was brutal, to be fair. Like,
yeah, it is brutal. War is brutal.
well, that's it. Yeah.
And
lost a lot of good friends over there. So
it's fascinating to me how like we're here, we think we're like immune in a bubble on this island. It's literally a few miles that way.
But
this is going on.
The whole nation was built on war. So obviously you had the Bretons here first, the original Celts and stuff, and then obviously the Romans came over, the Vikings come over, the French come over. So we are built on war, and been living in a time of good times created by strong people, women and men, who have fought for this country and defended it and fought against attackers, and even when the attackers come in, they fought for it. Like William the Conqueror was a descendant of Ragnar Ragnarsson, who was the Viking who invaded the first time. So, and he was one of our kings. So it's like, no.
Yeah, and did this war, did it give you, when you watch war videos, I'm hearing a lot of people speak about how the Ukraine-Russian war is very much similar to how World War One trench warfare kind of is. No,
that's completely different now. So the fighting aspect, yeah, like it's firing from one side to another. It's a two-way range, and you're hoping that you slot them before they slot you. Reality of it, they've got that much technology now that you can't, like, the modern day soldier.
The drones and
we are just sandbags, like, because the drone's got thermal on there. Like one of the boys, Pez, he's a sniper over there. He was one of our mates. He was doing CP and stuff. He went over. He's from ex-Royal Fusiliers. He got hit by a airstrike, a drone strike, but he was a sniper. 90% of the time, like back then, snipers were there fucking pinging people left, right, and centre. But
the sniper's getting sniped.
That's it. The snipers we've got no cover from the thermals and stuff. You can see running around from like 500 feet in the air, like,
sad, isn't it?
you know?
It's like as if there needs to be some major upgrade of armor for people. You know, when you see like in
Yeah.
Avatar and that,
That's
you know, when you're in your machine type
Like
of thing. That's the only way.
Call of Duty type stuff, innit?
That's the only way you're going to level it out, isn't it? Really now,
Yeah.
because it's just
It's
fun.
It's so advanced. The modern day soldiers we're obsolete in a way, but you still need them because everything on the ground needs somebody to operate it. Like, you can't take a position without somebody here holding it because it just don't work.
It's just became more savage, haven't it? And,
It is.
you know, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, this will be a fact that maybe, you know, a time will come where all this will be gone and we will be back to the primitive time of just fist and fist.
Was that Albert Einstein one there? It was, don't know what World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. That's a good quote, man. I love my stoicism, my quotes. Like, it's, you come up with good stuff.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm quite like recognizing through this conversation is how often you are mentioning former British soldiers in Ukraine. How many would you say is actually out there? Because some people would say we're already at war. Most of the British are out.
We've been in a Cold War with Russia since the 50s. Like, it was American us against Russia and China. It's been like that since the 50s. The only difference now is where Ukraine want to join the EU, and that's too close to Russia's doorstep, and they don't like it. So they class Ukraine as their own because it was part of the Soviet Union. It was one of their biggest steel distributors back in the day, and they used to make the tanks and the weapons and stuff there. Oh, cold, chilly.
Well, we put the heater on.
That's all good. And yeah, so Russia don't want NATO on their doorstep, which is understandable to a point. But at the same time, Ukraine don't want to be oppressed and part of the communist ways.
And I agree that. So, but are you? Because I hear it and I get it. Like I respect those British people who know the difference between right and wrong, but still stand staunch on the fact of we're British. I'm standing for my British, you know, whatever it is. But do you see understanding from Putin's side at all? I do. Like I don't blame him.
Yeah. So
UN is a bully in a way, the same as he is.
Blue Hat soldiers, they've caused more problems. Like, the UN's caused quite a lot of problems in a lot of countries that other countries have had to go in and clean up. But yeah, I understand a lot of. He's got a lot of good points. Like, all this stuff sort of happening with Europe and all now with the immigration and everything. We've got Poland standing firm at the moment saying we're not letting anyone in.
And I respect Poland for that. Like, I want to actually move to Poland.
Bro, that politician, he's probably one of the best ones around at the moment. He's spot on. But you've got like all this wokeism, all the you can't say this, everything's censored.
Suppression.
It's also like they've got suppression in Russia, obviously, with all like the TV and stuff.
Better though,
but it's better suppression, you know. It's not like.
Well, people who talk about how, you know, he's a madman, he's a psychopath, and it's like, look, it's probably not great to live in, but there's a lot of things that I prefer that happens there than what's going on here right now, and a lot of the public say that as well.
But he doesn't complain. He doesn't say that he's sane, does he? He's ex-KGB. He moved into power. He knows he's a psycho, but he knows he's a chill. Like, he's got his stuff about him. He's got his wits about him. He knows, like, a lot of the stuff he's doing is probably, well, is definitely against the Geneva Convention and is probably, like, bad. But he's doing it with the intent, like, it's like we run off RTR in the army, which is return appropriate fire. He's doing he's like in the mentality of appropriate fire. So now he's threatening nukes, which is everybody's like, oh, that's mental and stuff. But they're on the border of pushing Russia back. His next course of action is nukes, obviously, because that's the sort of war it's become.
Yeah, but like you said earlier as well about how they were bombing innocent people, and that's what drove you to go there. But I have heard as well that the Ukrainians have been doing it in those regions of.
They have, like, Ukrainians been flying drones in and hitting Russian targets as well, and the borders of Ukraine. They speak Russian. Like, I think only 30% of Ukraine actually speak Ukrainian.
So what would your kind of what is your ultimate ideal solution?
My ideal solution is sort of at the stand down. Obviously, the war finishes because enough bloodshed's been spilled. It's a pointless war for a bit of land and money. But it's the ultimate conclusion. Russia keep the borders they've got. Ukraine keep the borders they've got. Ukraine become their own country like they are and do what they want. Like Russia's big enough; they don't need an extra bit of land.
Yeah.
But Russia don't want the EU and the UN on their doorstep.
And I totally respect that. I think Ukraine could be some sort of like, it would be no man's land in a way where it's that buffer zone between the two. It's big enough to do that. It's not like it's Switzerland covering, it's much bigger. But it could be something like Switzerland where it's out of, do you know what I mean? Where it stays out of certain
Well, that's it.
things. I don't see what the problem is with that. And, I have a feeling that there might be a time, like where the Donbass region and that might be etched out with Russia.
Well, that's it. So obviously you've got the Donbass area, like the Kharkiv area, and then up by like, obviously Mariupol now and all, and then you've got not Chechnya, what's one down south, where they blew up the bridge, and I can't forget Crimea, yeah. Then you got Crimea as well. So obviously Ukraine believe the Crimea is Ukrainian, and the Russians believe it's Russian.
Yeah,
but they've blown up the bridge, so the Russians.
When you look at the size of Russia, it does make you think, "Fucking hell, mate, come on!" And you look at
it's a lot of land,
and you look at the UK, who are just happy. Right, people would say, "Well, look, you took over all these, the empires." Yeah,
you took over 3/4 of the world. To be fair,
Yeah, but we have now withdrawn, and we're not. Well, our leader we have right now, I don't even. He's not a leader. We don't have a leader. We don't have a leader.
The politicians leading up to this, since I'd say maybe Margaret Thatcher's day, have all just one after another slowly just.
Well, I was taught, and this might be controversial to a lot of Welsh people, but I was taught Margaret Thatcher was evil, because of Labour.
Because of the miners and everything.
Do you know what? Like, a lot of what she was talking...
She was a powerhouse.
I stand for.
Yeah, same. Like the Falklands. Yeah, there was they're small islands and there's not really much going on, but the people on the island believe they were British, and they were keeping it.
And like, I am a true, proud Welshman. I am Welsh first and foremost. But when like I speak about the British Army or Britain, and people will be, "Oh, what are you doing? You're Welsh, and I'm like, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whatever happens in England, if we were let's say we're independent, do you think for a second that we would be immune from any of the shit that happens in England?
Of course not.
Whatever happens in England is going to affect us regardless.
It's going to affect us worse, because obviously England is still giving us funding, and we give England funding, but they still give us funding. So if England go down the tubes, unless we're our own government like Scotland have done, we'll be on our asses.
Well, it's the same with migration. Imagine we had someone who was like, "Listen, this is for Wales only." You won't get that because they're very left, as well. Like, look at Drake. But this is what I mean. We're supposed to be this country of haven now, which I think we will be worse than England in 20 years' time.
That's it. It's like what's happening now is insane. Like Starmer's an absolute clown. I stand up and say that. I cannot stand the guy. The laws the guy's bringing in, what he's doing with the immigration stuff. You go like, can't speak now. You're an Islamophobe if you try and push for justice for the girls who got raped by those gangs and stuff.
Yeah,
and they're coming from these people that are coming from a third world country that have laws that are actually decapitate you if you do stuff like that over there, and they're coming over here like, well, I'll just get 6 months, or I'll get a suspended sentence.
Well, not only are they getting away with it, but the people who are standing up for it are the ones being accused. And it's like, I said the other day, didn't I, about how, like, I seen it again, Mehdi Hassan on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan really, I got to give him credit, because we call ourselves the Central Club, but he truly does stay central in the terms of he talks from two sides of the map.
That's it,
The worst thing I hate with him is the Central Club, what we do is we just let people have their say. We believe in free speech, let them have their say. I don't necessarily have to agree with them. The thing Piers Morgan likes to do is agree with both sides, or he will let his personal opinion be known, like he did with Tommy Robinson.
Well, that's it, yeah.
Mehdi Hassan, all he did was try his best to say how this isn't just a problem this is a worldwide problem. We know this, mate. Like, we know we have paedophilia problems and predators and we know this is a fact. Like I detest wrong uns.
Yeah, so-
Why, you know, I do. But the fact that we're not allowed to call out a certain section of it, look, we call out Pizzagate. Pizzagate was a bunch of, well, we thought, we don't know if it's a fact, but a load of elites who are involved in human trafficking
That's it.
and killing kids for the adrenochrome.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of people like myself have looked into and think it's disgusting.
Yeah, I've read it myself.
It's the same thing now with that's like the people involved in Pizzagate going, well, hang on a minute. Well, yeah, but it's not just, you know, with these grooming gangs as well with Pakistanis. You're just passing the bat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's like where you're from, like, but like this, you got Pakistani guys, Asian guys. Like, I've got friends who I grew up with, like, who are Pakistani, Asian, and like, a lot of black family, and but they know the British culture. They're normal to it. They follow the laws and stuff like that. But then when you've got the illegal migrants coming over from God knows where, the third world countries with not the sustainable stuff, where rape, murder, and crap like that is the norm over there. But they've got laws that are, if they're caught doing it, they will be killed over there. And then they come over here and think, oh, the punishment's like nowhere near as severe. I'll just go and do it for the hell of it because it's normal to me.
How many have like come here? First of all, they get given a phone, then they get given money.
That's it.
They get given housing.
You know,
they get given free gyms. They get given a bike, all under the premise of mental health because they're not allowed to work. So let's just give them as the end. Look, I've got mates who won't work because they'll be on less money if they work than they would if they were on PIP and universal credit.
That's it. It's not...
So they're just the same, but they're on even more. They're on even more than those who are on benefits here in Britain who need it. Now, the thing that really upsets me is these people who always think UK is the answer. They've probably been told by friends, this is where you need to come. Look, I've got all this money. They come here, but because they're not allowed to work, they get all the benefits. But they're probably sat there twiddling their thumbs, not knowing what to do. A lot of them become resort to crime.
Yeah.
Look at the shoplifting epidemic where loads of them in all these towns are just running in, running out. You've got people who are selling drugs and you've got people who are just mentally not well as well.
Well,
you know? And
it's come to a point now where you've got that people who's mentally not unwell because of what the government has done. So you've had massive cuts to the NHS where they've got hospitals like the Gwent and the Grange have got full maternity wards, but no staff to operate them. So women have to wait over their due date. They could be breached. They could be have complications, and they've got to wait over their due date to even get seen by a doctor or to have the baby because there's not enough staff to operate these perfectly preserved, and they're ready to go. They've got all the equipment there.
Yeah,
but they've got no staff to do it. They're paying 500 million a year on tourists funds for the NHS, which is for tourists to come over. So people were like, oh, they've got free healthcare there. They'll fly over here.
just to do it. Yeah, the loophole, like.
Yeah. So they're having free healthcare,
joke, mate.
and we're paying for that. And then they're cutting the army to a defence force. You can't even. The army's not big enough to defend, to even do an attack now. So what's Starmer saying with Russia? Like, our army will fight.
This is the worst. This is the most delusional guy.
Can just about cover like 2-3 countries max, and that's like a regiment at a time. So
it's a joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like we should be defensifying our country, like about the migration situation where he was talking about giving money to these countries to stop people wanting to come here.
Well, they're not going to do that.
Doesn't understand the reason why people are coming here.
Because these countries they're paying the governments, and the governments are just sitting on it. They're like,
we should be fortifying our borders.
That's it.
Not just for migration, but for attacks from countries like Russia.
Like we've got Trident, which is the anti-missile capabilities and stuff.
So when the Corbyn tried to scrap.
Yeah, which would obviously Corbyn's an idiot as well. But
well, a lot of people think he's a hero, don't they? I don't see the appeal. I understand he might be like pro-peace. I get that, but don't understand like
there's that saying in it. It's the parabellum saying, which is if you want peace, prepare for war. So
yeah,
if you lower your defences, someone's going to walk in and take your country.
It's just like
it's been happening for thousands of years, but it's got to a stage now where.
What do you think of people? I see this a lot as well, and it really upsets me. Again, are you proud to be British? No, I'm not proud to be British. Oh, we've had a terrible history, and I'm just like, but that wasn't you.
Yeah,
that That was none of your. It wasn't even your granddad or your great granddad. Your great granddad was actually a hero in World War II.
That's it.
You're talking about people hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and it's like the statue destroying. And I believe we should never destroy anything of our past because we will never learn from it.
But I say, like, look at America. When somebody burns an American flag, those guys get locked up instantly. And over here, you can like destroy statues, you can burn the British flag, and it's like, oh, well done, like, do it again.
I
do
truly
something else.
believe those people just hate our people,
Well, they do.
and they want it to crumble. So these people who are all for, who say, like I'd done a video the other day about that. I believe illegal migration is one of the biggest problems in the UK.
It is.
And people go, it's not even tiny, it's tiny. And you're like, you're lying. Like, it's the highest it's ever been. And I'm telling you now, as a person, a British, Welsh person, on the street, it is the biggest fear and concern of everyone, like who I know. So these people who say it's not a problem, clearly are lying, and they just want it to crumble.
Or they're middle class and they're happy in their little stately homes where they don't have to see anything.
Well, that's very true as well, because and I'm not going to say names, but I had an argument with someone in work, and I had an argument with someone in work, and it's like he's adamant it's no problem, but this guy lives in one of the most affluent areas of Wales, 50 miles each side of a city, and you're like, you'll be the last to see it.
That's it,
why,
it's like, if you come from like anywhere like Newport, got like the docks and everything.
Well, Pill's fucked. Let's be real.
Pill's the most diverse place ever.
No, but like Pill, in terms of Pill 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, with your black, your Caribbeans, like, who actually integrated with Newport and then moved to Ringland, Corper. Well, Ringland was one of the parts they were as well originally, but like, I'll give Cardiff as an example. Cardiff Docks, you had a community there. A lot of them integrated with other areas. Yeah. Okay, the dock still has a large Somali population, but, a lot of people integrated. But I look at Pill now, and I went down there not long ago. You had like 40, 50 Romanians on one side of the street. Then you had on the other side a load of Sudanese. Then you had another, and like even the people who were part of that community from Africa and the Caribbean have been pushed out as well. They even say it's finished.
That's it.
They even say it's finished.
As I say, it's the same with Pill. Like Pill and Maindy. I think it's Pill and Maindy now have got the most diversity. But as you said, it's most of it's like you had the Caribbean culture was like 50 years ago. And then like it was the Indian and Pakistanis in the 80s, and now it's just people coming from
I believe it's not a racial thing. I think it's a culture thing. I believe like with the Caribbeans, they are a lot of them are Christians, a lot of them Westernized. So they do believe, they do have a drink. Yeah. They do celebrate Christmas. So you can integrate more, like you're allowed to marry someone who's black and somebody who's white. Interracial is fine. But when it's then a religious thing, it's different, and I think that's a big problem. We need to integrate more. Like
religions are there as guide, like my personal opinion and belief, like I reckon I reckon the Bible's amazing. The Quran's is good as well. And then you've got all the other ones. But the idea of it is to preach peace, a way to live. So do this and you'll be a good person. Like, don't do this. So the eye for the eye thing leaves the whole world blind and all that. It's like they're quotes. It's like Aesop's fables. It's like they've got little fables in there to with the morals of the stories. So it's a way of saying how to live a good life. But then people read too much or don't read into it enough and think, oh yeah, it just means hate these people. Don't let people.
Well, I believe religion is, they're all interpretations of the same thing. Yeah. And it's not about my God's better than your God, because our God's actually the same.
The same God, yeah, it's the same.
And the sooner we realize that, I think the better. What do you say about the man who lives in the tribe out in the outback who has no acknowledgement of God or a religious figure? And you say, that man who is probably a really good person, hasn't sinned, and just provided for his tribe? Are you saying he won't go to heaven because he didn't know
That's
or
it, you
didn't
know?
practice? It's things like that where you got to think, well,
That's the questions then, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
it's the loopholes and the downfalls.
and
but-
if God is so forgiving, wouldn't he forgive you at the end of times when you repent? I don't know. I don't know.
That's it, you know.
But it's hard to see how, like, you
It's a
know,
grey area in it, but yeah, but if the problem is, it's not the religion itself, because, as I said, it's got a lot of
goodness.
goodness. It's like it's meant to preach good. Like, obviously, Jesus was a big preacher of good, but it's the people who read it and then get extremized, but become extremists from it. Like, oh, we hate this culture because this culture's better.
Well, I believe all people have done is manipulated
Well, they have, yeah.
the word of what it is for their own benefits.
Oh, yeah,
Look at priests who have, became pedophiles because of it.
You know,
And it's the same in every
it's
religion. You are going to have people who will manipulate it for their own benefits.
that's it. You know,
And it's a very, very grey area.
and that's where it flows back to the illegal immigrants, because obviously it's, oh, you're an Islamophobe if you hate on them. No, it's not nothing to do with them being a part of Islam. It's them coming over, being terrible people, raping people, like killing, like chopping people up and stuff.
And there is,
It's nothing to do with religion. It's their Quran says like you shouldn't kill, but yet they come over and think, oh, I'm just gonna go and rape somebody and or kill them, like,
yeah.
you know.
With that, though, you have, and it has been admitted by credible sources, that in this caravan of migrants, there has been extremists. So there are those who have openly admitted that they are part of. So again, that's another reason why we should be protecting.
But I said it's the Trojan horse effect, isn't it? They're like, yes, come in, and then as soon as they're all in, that's it.
And a lot of people talk about, you let the Ukrainians in, you let this in. Yes. When the Polish came in, there was a lot of problems there. A lot of people were fearful. Anything new, people are fear of. But when I look at the Polish now, like Seb, he's my PT man. What a fucking legend. He really has taken to British life.
Yeah.
He wants to be British. His missus is Welsh. He classes his kids as being Welsh.
Yeah.
I think his missus is Welsh. I know one of his chicks. No, but I have got Polish friends who have integrated with Welsh people. And it's like, with the Ukrainian situation, a lot of them would like to go back. It's not like they want to stay here.
That's it.
They want to go back.
The problem if they go back, though, like especially for the men, is they'll be forced onto the front line, and when they come over here and they're working, they're earning between like $1,000 and $2,000 a month. If they're over there on the front line, they'll be on less than $1,000 a month. They're able to provide for their whole family from a different country. Like, yeah, it's not ideal not being able to fight for your country, not being able to make the difference.
But they're actually, like you said, they're providing. They're working legitly. Like they're actually giving to our society, and they're living by our. Like I don't know any Ukrainians who have caused any problems.
No, exactly. So that's what I mean. They're coming over. They work hard. They work their socks off. They're contributing to society, and they're in a wage which makes a difference in their country, so they can provide for the care for their families who have suffered from their houses blowing up. And
I think the only way we're ever going to stop this rhetoric of Islamophobic or racism is when people of their own cultures call it out.
Well, that's it.
One thing you can say about white British people who, they're using this excuse of, again, like I said, well, there's white pedophiles. One thing I can say is white people do call out white pedophiles. Yeah. We have grooming, we have predator pages, which we will get onto in a minute. We actually have one here. So, and also, you go to jail, the amount of people I know who have opened up nonces, white people who have opened up white nonces, it is a fact. So we need to call it out more. People of their own cultures need to call out the shit that's going on. And that's where the fear comes, because people think, well, if they're not calling it out, do these really mean it as well?
That's it. But then it's the laws as well. So like back here, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, the age of consent was as soon as a girl started their period. So we've evolved from there. But in like them countries, like in the Middle Eastern countries, they've still got the same sort of.
Well, no, it's here now because they still live that.
Yeah.
You know, it's carried out here,
But
isn't it?
that's it, you know. So as soon as a girl was ready, she was ready.
Marrying your cousin.
That's it. Marrying your cousins. Marrying like.
Mm.
Well, you can marry. I think I don't want to upset any Muslim people, but like I'm sure Allah's first wife was 5 years old, wasn't she?
Aisha.
Yeah.
We spoke to Ali Dawa, and I think, yeah, it might have been, but like I know 9 was a significant age for something. Maybe when they got married, I don't know.
Like,
But-
first wife was like below the age of 10. Like that's not even double figures. So it's culturally for them, it's the norm, and then it's coming over here as well.
What's going on, people? I want to break in here to say a big shout out to our new sponsors at Altai Mountain Shilajit. I'm not one to jump on bandwagons, but with this, I had to. I was just really intrigued about it, and I'm glad I have. I started Shilajit now, I would say 3 months ago, and I really do see a difference. I suffer with OCD and ADHD. And I have 1,000 tabs open all the time. They are never closed. And since taking the Shilajit, I have seen vast improvements, first of all, in my sleep. Before this, I would be up all hours of the evening. My sleep is much, much better. I'm getting a healthy 6 to 8 hours in now. And for the first time in a long time, I've started dreaming again. And these dreams are amazing, so much so that I can't wait to go to sleep the next day to see where it takes me next. In terms of my thought process and how I go about things, it's helped me massively to organize. Like I said, my ADHD runs wild, and since taking the Shilajit, I have found I've been able to categorize my priorities and be able to achieve things one thing at a time. So rather than giving you a fancy script, I'm just speaking from the heart that I truly believe that Shilajit has been a massive positive on my life. And, you know, I can't wait to start 2025 with a bang with Shilajit in my life. They also have, with Shilajit, we have the tablets I've been taking as well. So we have the wild-crafted sea moss. We also have the mushroom blend, and there's the Himalayan capsules as well. In terms of the Shilajit, there's 2 options. We've got the capsule options here, which are the daily drops you take. I think it is 2 a day. And of course, we have the resin, the pure Himalayan salt resin, which is what I use every day, just a pea size in a warm water with some lemon. You can't get it wrong. So make sure you contact Altai Mountain Shilajit for a sponsor with a discount code Stay Central for 20% off. Take care. Being Wales' biggest podcast means only one thing. We need to be sponsored by Wales' biggest clothing brand, Weekend Defender. They've been in the game for well over a decade now, and they still hold weight within the casual scene. So if you want a deal on the hottest seasonal drops, then hit the discount code below at Stay Central. Right, well, look, we could go in forever on this. I do want to go back to the Ukraine situation though first. So there probably a lot of people listening thinking we didn't actually answer it, but how many British people are really out there, do you think? And how many British people have we lost?
There's an absolute ton of lads out there. I'm not sure, like, I don't know how many we've lost. We've lost a few. A few power lads.
What's a few? Give me a rough idea that you think we've lost.
We must have lost a good about, probably about in the 50s.
No.
Yeah, but it's quite a lot have gone over. A good few thousand went over. But you've got Americans going over as well. There's French going over. So there's like people from all over Europe and all over the world are going over to help.
This the same on the Russian side? Well, we know we got the North Koreans.
So, whilst I was over there, the Russians were getting conscripted under the pretenses of all their debts would be paid. But then they were getting sent to the front line with minimal kit, just as cannon fodder, like. Because just before I went there, they'd done an attack on Kyiv with Russian paras and Spetsnaz, and they sent 3 waves
On Kiev?
On Kyiv, yeah. They sent 3 waves of helicopters at Kiev, and they all got shot down. The first wave got shot down within 5 minutes, and they sent another 2 waves, and both waves got shot down within 5 minutes. Just wiped out.
Just to see how it would go, like.
Basically. So it's like, the care for life isn't there. They don't care. Like, you had the Ukrainian conscripts and Russian conscripts were coming over onto the front lines, and Ukrainians were stood there with megaphones like, drop your kit, drop your weapons, walk over here, and we'll feed you, we'll clothe you, we'll look after you, you don't have to fight. And the Russians were doing it. They were like being looked after. So they've got a lot harder, but then it's the Eastern European mentality. They've been at war. Like, you've had the Bosnian War and the Serbian War, and everything's been going on for the last like hundreds of years. So they're just battle hardened people. Their way of living is just tougher than ours. So it's normal for them, which is obviously a cultural difference. But as far as Brits go, like, 3 of my mates got blown up, survived. One got fragged, one got hit by a mortar. It hit the tree and shattered all his shoulder and stuff. He's still over there, he is. And Ben Grant, Mrs. Grant's son, he carried him off the battlefield and like saved him.
Yeah, did you say you saved?
So that...
What happened?
So when the Russian lad I choked out after he was filling in Josh. So he was saying he's going to kill us all and everything. But obviously our TL was Ben. He's a politician's son. So if he would have been next, like, because they were just round the corner, and that guy was saying he was gonna murder every single one of us with all this, with how he was gonna kill every single one of us. And personally, I think if he had been slotted, we'd have gone to war the next day. Because obviously a conservative sin, you had the Conservatives in power at the time as well. It was, the Tories, sorry, not Conservatives. It would have been
same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. But we'd probably been in war with Russia the next day, probably, so.
Really?
Yeah. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, he's a hell of a lad, like, he's a very good team now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What was the most intense or traumatic moment for you?
I don't know. Like, see, I struggle with the word trauma because I don't get it. I don't get trauma. Like, it's, yeah.
You said you went to, was it Mariupol or no? Where did you go to with it?
We were in Kharkiv and up by at the top of the Dnieper on the Belarusian border. But we were mostly working out of Irpin from there, so it was like...
Yeah, what? Because you said you went to some...
Kharkiv, yeah, it was in the trenches. And I was just mostly artillery, that was. We was only there for a few...
You said there was the Chechen...
Yeah. So whilst we were up north, so village, the Chechens had gone through it, and they left us messages saying, you see what we've done here, we're going to do this to you, and all this, a Chechnyan bloke. Got the video somewhere, but they there was blokes tied up in the middle of the street with like hose pipes, and they were battered, bruised, like cut to shreds. There was women and children like shoved down drains. Apparently they'd been raped, tortured, and killed and stuff. There were dogs in the middle of the street cut in half, and they were just gone through this village and absolutely murdered everybody, like. And they were like literally tied up in gutters and like arms and legs bound, and they'd been like fully tortured, stabbed up, battered, all just for the sake of it. And we believe it was the Chechens. It was either the Chechens or the Russian mix. Can't think of the name at the moment.
Wow.
For the mercenary group, yeah.
Oh, it's intense.
Yeah, well, that was intense. That was very intense, and that sort of does shake you to your core. But going back to the trauma thing, I don't know. I'm a weird one. I've never really felt it. Obviously, you get a feeling in your chest, but that's as soon as it's over, that's done. Like, it doesn't really. I've never like.
You don't replay things in your head.
No, I don't struggle with sleep or nothing. Do have flashbacks now and again, but you just got to blink them off and then they're gone. But other than that, nothing.
And you don't get like trauma. You don't get like your stomach, the feeling in your stomach.
No,
worry.
nothing. No, it's a strange one. I know a few lads were like it. We're all like, don't get the whole PTSD thing, but I know it does exist because you do see people struggle with it. But I guess I'm lucky in that sense.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen then? How do you think it's going to play out yourself?
Well, hopefully now Trump's in power and he's saying he's going to sort out, and Putin's obviously saying they're going to come to an agreement. Hopefully Biden stops again sending missiles and poking the bear until he stands down, and then hopefully they can come to some sort of agreement. Like Starmer's mouthing off at him as well. He's like, "Oh, we're going to keep fighting and stuff." But as Russia said, if a missile gets like Trident's never been actually tested in a live situation. Like obviously it works, but against like how many nukes does Russia have? They could send as many as they want, and Trident's only going to work for the majority of them, and Britain's only a small country.
Oh, so what? So Trident,
it's the anti.
Oh, and I thought Trident was just.
It's a defense system.
I thought just when a nuke gets launched to us, we just launch back. I thought there's no defense.
No, so it's a defense. It shoots it down in air, but we do fire back as well. So it shoots down in air and fires back at the same time. It's a bit like the Musk stuff.
So regardless of like defense, we're still going to shoot back.
Well, yeah, we'll still shoot back, which is going to cause obviously an all-out war. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like Trident's only so effective. There's always a percentage of or margin for error. Yeah. And all it takes is one like miss switch or a drop in power. Job, well, Britain's a good one, that gone.
Yeah. Well, they say, don't they? You know, you could wash us away with the wave, can you?
I say, but we've stood here for so many years that I don't see it happening. Like,
is that not your pride, or do you truly believe that?
Oh, it's a bit of pride as well. But the politicians, they're just playing a game of risk and monopoly. They're just playing. They're sat around the table, and you've got risk in one hand, monopoly in the other. You've got troops going from one place to another. You owe us this much money. You're landing here. You've got to pay us. They're just playing that sort of. They're playing board games with the normal everyday person.
Yeah, we're just pawns in it. We're like the Hunger Games.
Literally, we are literal pawns, and it's got to a point where it's.
I remember watching. Did you watch the Putin interview?
Which one?
Tucker one.
The one with Tucker, yeah. Which put my mind at rest. So I was thinking I could see a person there, and he's just standing for his own people.
Well, that's it.
I agree with a lot of what he says. Just the way he goes about things in terms of the war is just savage.
Oh yeah, he is a savage.
But when it comes to nukes, remember those politicians. There might be a few cycles in there, but they all have families and they have parts.
But they've also got nuclear bunkers. So they exactly. Yeah.
What sort of life would we live after a nuclear war?
Oh, you're not.
As long as they're funded, they've got everything, haven't they? Some of these bunkers are like fucking big cities. Like it's like you wouldn't even know you're underground.
They've been trying to scare them.
They're not cooped up in a.
It's
the 50s.
Yeah, but they're not cooped up in a room, bro. Like this is like cities, bro.
I was just about to say that as well. So like, it all comes down like MK Ultra. The CIA done it back in like the 50s, where they traumatized people to control them. So it's psychological brainwashing and psychological torture. And it's the same sort of thing with the media. They feed you all these false lies and stuff. And then it's the scaremongering to go with it, which traumatizes people. And with how soft Britain's come now, where you can't say this and how woke it is, people are traumatized over somebody saying boot one.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know this, but like I've read David Icke's books in jail and stuff. Yeah, right. And if you believe that there are other things going on and there's elites out there, or there is this like reptilian whatever, they believe that they feed off fear. Yeah, it's their energy. And look how much fear is in the world right now.
Well, that's it. Like,
they are rich in fear.
That's it. And it's massive because they do feed off it. It's like the best way to control somebody is either to make them really happy so they follow you and the leadership, or to scare the crap out of them so they don't want to rebel or anything. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
It is the Matrix, like. In a
Do you
sense.
believe? Do you believe these migrants are here for a reason?
50-50. I reckon they're here because it's good living. It's an easy target. Like, obviously, the pound's still a superpower. So earning pounds is double dollar. Like, and I think it's like 1,000 of their money to £1. So it's like, they're 20 pence. So they're coming over to earn money for one. The second is, I'm not sure which one of the leaders, but one of the leaders said, and it goes back to like the Jerusalem days, that it was like the sun rises in the east and it will set in the west, as in Islam will spread all the way over. I'm not sure, I think it was possibly Saladin, but it was during like the Kingdom of Heaven movie time. But it was like, yeah. So during the Crusades and all, they did say, they were like, eventually Christianity will fall and will take over. But whether or not that's, I mean, it's a view. Whether or not I don't particularly believe it, but it's always a chance it could happen.
Yeah.
But I personally believe that I just think that Britain is so soft, and that all the wokeism and you can't.
Well, it's not just Britain, is it? Britain, I think, is the gold standard of just faggotry.
It is faggotry.
But you go everywhere else, like like if you look at Germany, they're all fucked, man.
Yeah, but Germany's hitting back now, so they're actually starting to fight back, which is a good thing. You've got the other European nations that are fighting back. So France are fighting back because they've been smashing up all the churches, burning all the churches.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting.
It is.
It's absolutely disgusting. Whether you believe in religion or not,
I'll say
you should never, ever defame or attack someone's.
look, religion is it preaches peace, and there's no
You
peace
attack
in
someone
it,
that preaches peace, yeah. What
no-
does that say?
no peace in any of the actions that they're doing. So it's, I don't know, extremism, Phil.
So you're still in PC.
Yeah.
You're in Somalia at the moment.
Yeah.
Eye opener?
Yeah, it's a very big eye opener, which obviously comes back to the stuff that's happening over here as well. So one thing that happened during my time there, so it was obviously open news, is a Somali police officer was sat on a checkpoint and in the red zone, and a family went past in a tuk-tuk, and one of the guys, the tuk-tuk splashed the copper and got a bit of mud up his leg, and the copper pulled out his weapon and lit up everybody in the vehicle, so killed everybody in the whole family. So it was a father, the mother, and the kids. Just killed them for getting them over wet, like. And that's the sort of everyday thing that happens over there. You've got the National Army fighting with the police fighting with the intelligence soldiers as well. So it's like, it's a nation that's sort of, it's coming along a lot, but it's still very, very...
Is it very corrupt, Joe?
Very corrupt. There's a lot of bribery. Al-Shabaab's a massive problem.
Still?
Yeah, we were getting mortared every couple of weeks. We were. They drive into a village with the mortars on the back of the vehicle, ping in like between 6 and 8 mortars, and then just drive back.
So who are they battling with? Who are they attacking?
So
Who are you?
they hate. So we're to work in PSD services. So that's
Who are you?
like diplomats and ambassadors and stuff.
Westernized ones?
Yeah, so we was working EU and like German and like Norwegian stuff, and the World Bank Group as well, who do a lot of work with the hospitals. So they're all over there doing good causes, so like water, food programs.
So they're just getting slammed for doing it.
Because you've got the American army over there, you've got the Italian army over there, you've got the Turks, the Egyptians turned up, you've got the French work out of there, the Brit mills there. So there's a lot of Western military operating out of that small area.
Of Mogadishu?
Yeah. And then you've also got all the embassies as well. But then you've got Al-Shabaab, which are a very extremist group who, well, they go around like wiping out villages, and they're still doing it now, like just turning up to villages and killing everybody in them, normal civilians, and they've like loving life when they're doing it as well. So the main goal is obviously to get bribes, to get payments, because they're still taking bribes off every single person out there. They're just doing it in a way that they'll take the bribe and then they'll leave you alone. But if you don't pay the bribe, that's it. Like, you get attacked. Well, if people are getting killed for having cameras up on petrol stations and shops, because they got cameras up and their faces might get seen, they're going in and just killing the people in the shops. Like, so it's that sort of. It's a way of life out there. Though. It's normal. It is the Wild West, but it's normal out there. So then when you've got countries like that, and Somalia's nowhere near the worst now. Like, Nigeria's bad now. Sudan's like, you've got the genocides going on in Sudan.
And it's people like that who are coming over.
That's it. You've got people like that coming over, and to them, normal is slotting someone for getting you a bit muddy, like.
And I respect those who come over here to flee that.
Yeah.
And they've come here the right way. Even like Somaliland, like we said, I got a lot of friends from that area, which they state is a lot more peaceful and more diplomatic.
Yes. Somaliland's like, I really like Haggis or in places like that. I don't know. It's completely different. It's more laid back. It's more communal.
Yeah.
It's just cool. It's a cool place.
You know, what people don't understand or want to acknowledge is coming here legally and illegally are two different things. And the same way we need people to call out what goes on in their communities or their cultures, we need those legal people to call out the illegals.
That's
that would stop us looking like the bad guys. But it's common sense.
But they're living in fear then that if they speak out against their own people.
Well, the same way that we slam the politics for not speaking about grooming gangs.
That's it.
There's no excuse. When you all stand together, it should be
It should be strong. But it's the fact the legal ones come over and they've still got family over there. And a lot of the extremists have got ties to, say, Al-Shabaab or other terrorist groups.
But then does that mean that it's just something that we are never going to solve, and maybe there just needs to be something like...
There needs to be a
cut-off line. Like no more in, we got to sort this out.
They need to be screened. Just let the ones who do it.
Well, I know someone who worked in, and he said they're not even doing that anymore. It's not... The people we're letting in, we shouldn't be. A lot of them know this.
Yeah. Like, they take bribe because the cost, the way, the minimum wage and stuff over there and the cost of living and the way of living is, it's still quite a poor country. So a little bribe, or should I say a big bribe.
Well, it's there, isn't it? With their money, it doesn't mean much, innit? You see them sat on banks of money, like...
Well, 1,000... Haggis is not too bad, Somaliland's not too bad, but their money itself, 1,000 Somali shillings is 10 cents of a dollar.
Wow.
So, you could be sitting on 20.
A lot of them are millionaires then.
Yeah. 20 grand's 20 quid.
I've been enjoying this, and I should have moved on a bit quicker, but we are short of time, and I want to get onto this quickly before you go. And it's about closer to home, some of the things you've had. So do you want to give it to us?
So, I'm talking about the grooming stuff. I'm quite a firm believer of nonces should be locked up. I hate them with a passion, and a lot of it is too much going on. I got done. I say got done. I had a lot of problems with my ex-partner, with my daughter. After they had what are they called again? The ones who got done for it. He was on the list, he's on the registered sex offender. That's the one. He's a registered sex offender. Wasn't allowed around kids.
Yeah.
Got done for grooming an underage girl and stuff. And he was with her, and he was in her defence, he was treated her well, but she was on heroin and she was struggling herself.
Yeah.
But they had him around my daughter, and he sat around there. So I seen this on a video, and I didn't help myself, but I kicked off about it. I was like, how dare you have a fucking nonce around my kid when you know he's not allowed around the kids, and all this, and this. So we had a bit of an argument, and she stopped me from seeing my daughter. But around the same time, there was another one who was from Mace Glass, which is just over the road, and he's been doing the same, so grooming underage girls. Messaging them and stuff like that. And he walked past, and I had my daughter with me at the time, and he sort of made a it was like the most horrible noise I've ever made, ever heard. And it was like a sort of noise. When he walked past and seen that and made that noise. So I gripped him, threatened him and stuff, and was like, I was going to kill him.
Wow.
And then he got me done then for harassment and threats and stuff like that. So I wanted to speak to him I wanted to have any contact for 2 years and all this.
Are you sure, like, was you 100% sure that he was making a noise?
It was definite there. Look, it was like, you couldn't deny it. Like, it was.
How brazen are some of these, isn't
You
it?
know what I mean? I don't know whether he meant to just openly do it.
Yeah, he probably didn't realise he'd done it.
But he done it, and I lost my shit, like. And then 3 years later, obviously I'm not allowed to speak to him for 2 years, no contact. 3 years later, a good friend of mine who was with him who in the past and had kids with him, he'd beat her up and put through her windows, was hanging around outside her house, going to places where her and her fella were, and like standing out and like shouting stuff at them and stuff.
Harassing.
Like flat out harassing. They had all the videos, all the proof, and the police like refused to do anything about it. She ended up getting emergency moved to somewhere else
Wow.
through Newport City Homes. Not the police.
Not moving him.
No, not moving him. He was fine. They held him on remand for.
Oh, so he did get arrested.
Yeah, he got arrested. They held him on a remand and then did nothing from that. Just nothing.
Did he get sentenced?
No sentencing. It all got thrown out by CPS and stuff. But his stepmom is a copper in Gwent Police.
And
So whether or not it's a link, I don't know.
But one thing I'd say is the fact that this happened, whether he got chucked out or there was evidence, whatever, the fact he's just come back into the community is not a good thing.
He did
because
get taken out.
you have caused friction between the two, and the fact it's the girl who had to move is quite sad, really.
It's very sad. Like, she was heartbroken, and he done a number on her, like, and he never got done for the first one when I called him out for it because I went to the police as well. Never got done for that. It was me who got done. So when after all that, nothing was getting done again. So I put a comment, status up on Facebook, tagged Gwent Police in it and tagged him in it. Stated what he'd done, stated that he was a paedophile, stated that this and this. I'm in work 2 days later and the police turn up at my mum's house, and this absolutely blew my mind. But they come to the house to arrest me for malcommunications and putting like in fear of endangerment or something like that. But the copper had like, my mum's a 6-year-old, like, she's 66, tiny little 4 foot like 8 lady. She's got like tons of heart problems, like Cardiff girl as well. And this copper, who was about 6 foot, was in her face, screaming at her, calling her a liar, telling her she knew exactly where I was, and that if she don't tell them where I am, stuff's going to happen and all. And she ended up having a heart attack that night, and she went into cardiac arrest. Luckily, the doctors at the Grange managed to resuscitate her, and she's now fine. But I called up the police the next day. I got home. I was like, I heard you were looking for me. Blah 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 blah. I want to put in a formal charge against this copper. I was like, I don't know his name and badge number because my mum never got it, but he was this. This is what he looked like, and he come to the house with this other copper. They turned around, oh, we're not dealing with that. I was like, well, it's a crime. If I done that, I'd be on a manslaughter charge or a GBH charge on the least. He's like, we're not dealing with it. If you want to deal with it, put in a complaint. So I was like, no problem, put in a complaint. A year ago, well, I was fighting this complaint for about a year. Straightforward complaint. I want him done for a minimum misconduct, gross negligence, and unprofessionalism. I want him to face. Didn't even get an apology. I want something done. When I'm putting one as well, and kept getting the same email back. So what is your complaint? I was like, a couple of months go by of the same message coming back. I was like, you know what the fucking complaint is. I was like, stop being a fucking dickhead. I was like, I want this copper done. I was like, why are you protecting him? Like, this, and this. He was like, oh, fine, come in for an interview with me in the complaints department. So I do this complaints department interview. It's like the cop was there like, oh yeah, I've got his name and stuff. I asked for his name, he wouldn't give it to me. I was like, okay, no worries. He was like, right, complaint. He then said to my missus, because I swore, he was like, don't use language like that in front of your girlfriend. I was like, well, you would like to tell me not to use language like my missus swears as well. And then after the interview, he turned around to my missus and said, because I got arrested as soon as the interview finished. Sorry, I skipped the bit in. I got arrested as soon as the interview finished and was done for malcommunications again.
So you get a call, you ask to be, can you just come down?
Yeah.
You go on your own voluntary basis.
Get
You
arrested.
get arrested.
Yeah, which was bizarre.
What did they arrest you for? You must have done something.
So it was apparently it was malcommunications because I had emailed the copper basically saying if that copper who done it wants to go around bullying little old ladies and thinks he's a big man and all you want to cover his ass, I was like, get in the ring and I'm gonna smash him legally. I was like, tell him the St. Joseph's is over the road. I was like, tell him to come over, glove up, and I'm gonna bully him. That's what I said to him. And I got done for...
Was that in person?
No, over email. So it wasn't with face on that thing, it was over email. I was like, tell this cop that wouldn't have done it to man up, stop hiding behind the badge, and stop hiding behind the rest of you who's not going to grass him up, to get in the ring. I was like, oh, we can call it quits.
I think that's fair enough.
You know, I was like, we can call it quits here. No more legal action, I'm just going to smash about. Obviously, he didn't like that. And I got arrested.
It's a threat, probably.
It was. I said legally, so it couldn't be classed as a threat.
Well, you offered him in a boxing ring. That's like, you know.
It is what it is. But yeah, I got arrested for malcommunications then. But the same day, they'd done a full terrorist explosives and weapons search on my house and tried to refer me to Prevent, which is the anti-terrorist department, which I thought was absolutely bizarre, like, just for saying I was going to beat him up. Like, the only weapons I got attached to my body in that sense, like.
And you definitely believe those two are connected?
100%, 1,000,000,000%. Like, that is, and like, even my solicitors turned around and said, I'll give him a shout out as well, because that guy's fucking been an absolute saving grace to me, which is Darren Bishop. He's an absolute star. But yeah, even he turned around and said, he was like, that's straight up malice, and it's just out of sheer, what's the word, spite. He was like, it's clear. So then I went to court, it got thrown out. Obviously, me saying about the pedo got thrown out as well. But nothing ever got done. He didn't get arrested. And then the day I got arrested for saying what I'd had about him, the sergeant on the desk said, yeah, but saying stuff like that's not very nice. I was like, so what? Beating up women and shagging underage kids and being a nonce is nice, is it? I was like, abusing kids and beating up women is nice. He was like, turned his head back down and like looked at the screen.
I think what the police don't like, they've worked so hard to get into this position, and I don't think all police are like this, but a lot of police, they love the fact they're coppers, they love the position of power, and they don't like it when someone does their job for them or takes that power out of their hands, and they're just like, who do you think you are? You know, I don't like that.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot of it to do with back to, like, not many people who, you know, as a kid went to be a copper. It was like usually the grass, like the school grass, or like somebody was being bullied.
Out of my school, my year group, I know a girl, and that's it. That I know of.
No one from
sort
of a council estate sort of school who went to a normal school. It was all either the posher people who have got no, like, business being on the streets, dealing with people who grew up on the streets. They've got no sense of community. They've got no sense of, like, talking to people either. Because you try and say something to a copper and they'll speak over you and they'll scream in your face and stuff. It's like, no, listen to what people have got to say before you make your judgment, because 9 times out of 10, the judgments they're making are wrong.
Do you think that, and this is quite controversial, I probably shouldn't even speak this into existence because it's worrying, but do you think that CPS prosecutions and actual courts, like juries, if it was 100% accurate, Do you think they should be governed by AI?
Yeah, if it was accurate, like 100% accurate, that's
It takes away the personal feeling of like,
it. Yeah,
oh, my uncle was a paedophile, or I've got those thoughts,
Yeah.
or do you know what I mean? And it's the same in not just in pedophilia. I mean, in any case, some judges have sympathy, some judges have envy, some judges wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
that's it. You know,
And you know, why are we to have our lives held in the balance by people on their preference? I think is very, very dangerous and unfair.
that's it. You know,
And I do fear for AI and the rise of it. And you watch films like The Minority Report, where it's like you get arrested for something you haven't even done yet because the algorithm has said
Yeah.
that you're going to do it. Now that's different.
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, and that's different. But I think in terms of if you have done a crime and we have this system that 100% proves if you're guilty or innocent, it takes away the wrongfully convicted
Yeah,
and it puts people to justice who should be in
but
jail.
that's it. So like going back to the whole grooming thing, that the paedophile I'd just like said about, he hadn't got no criminal record from it, nothing. Me, however, I lost 2 jobs because of having just harassment on my criminal record. Lost 2 jobs for it. Couldn't get a proper job for a good couple of years because of that. Until obviously my DBS cleared and all that. But yeah, and then because I kicked off about it, and the police didn't like me kicking off about it, and as you said, doing their job for them, and all right, I did call them out and said they're all crap at their job.
Did you name names? Like DPC?
Oh, no, of course I didn't. Because none of them wanted to give their names. They wouldn't give their number either, actually. Apart from one who was on the phone, the only one, and I was the one who answered the phone and said they're not dealing with the case.
Yeah, no, I just say that could be a reason why as well. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
but after obviously saying to the cop that I was going to smash him up, like, and it went to court, but it got thrown out of court for not. They provided the wrong evidence at first for the case prior, which was the paedophile case, and then they failed to produce any other evidence, even though the county court judge had said provided by this date. So my solicitor basically stood up and said, "Look, this is just clear misconduct. It's just ignorance, and it just shows how incompetent they are." So I got thrown out. I seen the coppers after they like. I give them a little smack, like as you do. But then I'm over in Somalia working PSD, and I get a phone call from my missus saying the 5 CID have just turned up at the house. They're trying to search the house because they've had an anonymous tip-off of you've got weapons, fully automatic weapons, ARs, and a Glock. So I was like, okay, the only way you'd know that is if, and they said they someone had put in an anonymous tip-off to Crime Stoppers.
that's very specific.
Well, there was a photo that I had to send CPS saying that I couldn't attend court for a driving offence that I'd already dealt with. I couldn't attend court because I'm not in country. So they asked for proof. So I sent them a photo of my ticket, of my plane ticket, saying Mogadishu, Somalia. And in the background, you can see my kit with my AR and my sidearm. So you can see it in the photo because the photo's on my table. And then, so I'm guessing it's from that. But they know I'm in Mogadishu doing PSD because I've just told them.
Who did you send that to?
CPS.
Well, and so you think CPS have done the anonymous tip-off?
Either them or that's the only people I can think of.
Yeah, because I just think maybe they would just go straight, like, the fact it's anonymous. Who said that? The police?
Yeah, the police said...
Maybe they were like, no, CPS have just gone straight to the police and said, no, go check his fucking house.
Yeah.
And they said, it's anonymous.
This,
you know.
And their exact words was, we believe it's an
But that's toxic.
Malice tip-off. So
Well, that's toxic because you're looking for people in the area now, aren't you?
You know?
Paranoid, and you're probably going to cause drama with people you shouldn't be.
Well, that's it. And at the time, my missus is heavily pregnant. She's like 8 months pregnant. And like, she don't need people coming to the house, raiding the house, looking for weapons and stuff. When it's clearly no weapons. They know there's no weapons there. They know I'm not even in the country. And then 2 days later, to get a letter come through the door saying we'd been referred to social services for having an aggressive dog and having clutter in one of the rooms, saying the house isn't livable for a child. We're in the middle of doing out the baby's bedroom, and the house was immaculate. But they turned around just out of spite because there was nothing there. And I genuinely believe it's just out of spite because me and Gwent Police have had a bit of beef because I've had to go to the politicians about them.
Do you regret any of the stuff you've done from it?
Do I fuck? I'll do it again tomorrow. It's everything I've done has been like turning the blind eye is not my style. Like if I see wrongdoing, that's one of the reasons I went over to Ukraine. When I see wrongdoing, I want to step in and I want to help. Like it's like justice isn't their version of justice isn't justice anymore, and they're broken. But yeah. So we had the social services come up. Everything got cleared off, obviously. So social services come to the house. The dog sat on his lap, chilling, and the room's obviously done. And they're like, yes, it's no room for concern. You've actually exceeded the standards and all this.
Yeah.
But the fact that they done the search, and then referred us just out of the spite of it, it just goes to show how pathetic they are. And they need to get a grip because they're not going to intimidate me. At the end of the day, I walk into fucking firefights like it's nothing. So a little bit of patheticness from their side isn't going to bother me. And there's probably a lot of other people who suffer the same because of it.
Yeah. You know, there are a lot of good officers out there, but there are them out there that... And again, I think this goes back to...
The bad ruin the good.
And this goes back to, like I said about culture, like I said about races, and like we say about now the police, they don't call out
That's
the
it,
others.
and they need to.
I'm all for brotherhood. I'm all for loyalty. But when you do not call out, like the government have with grooming gangs, you're never going to get the problem. I think this is the valuable lesson to this podcast.
When things don't get called out, you become part of the problem. Yeah, I agree completely.
I've enjoyed this.
I've enjoyed it as well. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. What we do with all our guests, we ask them to leave us with a positive message down the camera. Now, I don't know what you want to say or what you want to make this message about, but that's down to you, Garin. Take it away.
A bit of a personal one from growing up and to where I am now. No matter how hard life gets and how low you go, there's always ways you can always come back up. So just stay positive, stay strong, and just never give up.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, we might, if we, have some topics to do with the war going on or anything else, we might get you on again.
Happy days.
Just. Hey, till next time, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And like I said, if there's any shit going on that you know about, call it out. Call it out. Till next time, stay central.
The Central Club.